they last more than one day. This feels like somebody hacked into life and was like, let's pull a prank on all the women. Oh my gosh, I masturbated too hard. I don't want my mom to know I was masturbating. Don't call me a fucking lady. I'm a little girl. And you know that I'm a little girl. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cora J. The other day, I was recalling my adolescent years. I remembered that I learned a few things about periods very late. I'll always say this, but sex ed failed us all. Well, really, lack of sex ed, because I don't really remember having sex ed classes. I remember we had like a little talk in sixth grade about, domestic violence and like sexual assault, but not anything about condoms. Same thing in seventh grade. We had that general talk about, STDs, you should wear a condom, but also domestic violence, how to have boundaries with strangers and stuff like that. Really nothing about sex, not much about sex, you know what I'm saying? From my memory, it wasn't until ninth grade that we got into like the sexual organs, looking at the diagrams and understanding what each organ does. And then we got a little bit more into like periods and the phases of what's it called? Menstrual. The phases of the menstrual, and what each phase might bring, but very, very light. Very, very light. I personally never had a proper sex ed class. But anyways, I'm gonna save the rest of the yapping for the rest of the video. I kind of want to move on to 5 things about periods that I should have learned a lot sooner than I did. Fun fact, did you know that there's a specific word for a girl's first period, which is menarche? Menarche. I don't know. I like that word. It feels like I'm bleeding for the first time ever, and like other motherfuckers is about to start bleeding too, because like y'all about to feel my wrath. Okay. I don't know. But like I like that word. Menarche. Menarche. I don't remember learning that ever in school. And if you have the audacity to tell me, oh yeah, we learned that in school, knowing good and fucking well, you don't know me. We did not go to the same school. We probably not in the same graduating class. I hate when people on the internet be like, oh no, we learned this. You might have learned that. I didn't learn that, you know? You don't know me. But whatever, I'll give that to you. What if we did learn it, okay? I'll tell you 5 other things that I didn't learn in school about periods. One of the many things that sex ed or lack thereof did not teach me was that periods lasted more than one day. I know. But I know I'm not the only girl that thought like that shit only lasted like a day. I really thought periods were like one really long pee in the toilet. Like you would maybe feel that you need to pee, and then you would be peeing, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm on my period. I'm gonna be on the toilet for like half an hour. In reality, periods are usually longer than a day. And then I further learned that it varies between women. You know what I'm saying? It varies between bodies, which makes a lot more sense than it being more than one day to me. To me. To me. Okay? Because what the fuck are we doing bleeding for 5 days straight? 7 days straight? 9 days straight? Even 3 days straight? The fuck is that? That is so ghetto to me. Like, that would never settle right with me. I'm sorry, but like, life, what the fuck was like? This has to be like a bug in life, because like, why are we bleeding out of our coochie holes for that long? That's just me though. But anyways, yeah, I did think that periods was just one day, one very long pee. And I remember the day. I remember the day that I learned this. It's middle school. We're in 7th grade. I'm in the library with like some classmates of mine, because we kind of had like a free period called peer counseling. We ain't counsel nobody. Who the fuck am I counseling? And I didn't even know periods lasted more than one day. We really just fucked around in that class, but it was me and 3 other girls. And these girls, all 3 of them had their period already. If I believe correctly, I'm pretty sure they had their period since like elementary school. I didn't get my period yet at the day that we're having this conversation. So they're talking about periods. I'm kind of like out of the conversation because I'm like, oh, I can't relate to that right now, you know. And then I overhear something in my ear. I'm like, something 5 days this month. Oh, hold on, my sister. Did you just say period 5 days, period 5 days? And she was like, yeah, like last month it was 4 days, this month is 5 days. I was like, they last more than one day? All three of them was like, girl, you didn't get your period yet? Y'all, it's the way that didn't even make me feel bad about it. They like genuinely felt my pain, like, and then they held my hand and continued to have the conversation with me, like not literally, but they carried the conversation with such care and like understanding of like, yeah, girl, it's bound to come very soon. We're in seventh grade, and yeah, it's not gonna last one day. Sometimes it's 3, 5, 7. For some reason, it's usually on an odd number. I don't know why, but that's what they told me. That's what they told me, and that's what I've experienced in my life. You know what I'm saying? Even talking to other girls, it's always an odd number. That's very. Isn't that very like this feels like somebody hacked into life and was like, let's pull a prank on all the women. What they also told me, which will be my second point of this video, they also told me, don't judge me, y'all. I'm in seventh grade, okay? They also told me that periods, it's blood. I didn't know periods were blood. This is the whole point in the video. I should have known this, especially like when statistically speaking, too many girls that get their period in elementary school, for us not to at least introduce this topic in elementary school. I could understand somebody being like, oh, you're too young, you're just a kid or whatever. It's just part of nature. It's just something that happens when we're kids. We should be having these classes when we're kids. There's no reason why I should be sitting in fucking the middle of middle school not knowing that a period is blood, bro. My goodness! Let me tell you, I learned a lot at that table in the library that day. I learned a lot and I walked away from that class very traumatized, but very enlightened and grateful that those girls had shared that knowledge with me, because little did I know, in a month, just about, I would be getting my menarche. See how the timing is just funny. The timing is funny. Life is so funny. Ha ha hee hee ha ha. Girl, you so damn funny. Ha ha. Maybe I got my own memory wrong, because I remember sitting on a toilet and seeing the red, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dying, right? At first I thought I was dying, and I'm sitting here staring and I'm like, what could this be? And I was like, oh my gosh, I masturbated too hard. I don't want my mom to know I was masturbating. Like, I don't even know if I should be masturbating. I'm like, damn it, I masturbated too hard. And if the blood doesn't stop, I'm going to have to tell my mom I was masturbating. And that's a very awkward conversation to have with her. So I gave it maybe a day or two. And I was like, let's just see if it stops bleeding, because surely I didn't do it that hard. The next day, I check back in. It's still bleeding. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to go to the doctor. And I'm going to have to tell my mom and the doctor. The third day, it finally clicks to me. And I'm like, damn. Actually, I think this is a period. I think this is what a period is. It's crazy. I think that's how I found out that a period is blood. Not those girls telling me. But I think I mixed it up, because it was true that around that time, talking to them, I didn't know that periods was blood. You know what I'm saying? And it was generally around that area that I learned that it was. And at the end of the day, they did drop a lot of gems for me. Like, they taught me a lot. And even down to this, they was like, girl, it's going to smell like pennies. I learned a lot that day. I was traumatized. Anyways, forgive me for remembering that incorrectly. And please accept my corrected recollection of how I found out that periods were blood. Okay. But yeah. I remember that. I remember that rundown. I thought I was a pervert. Whole time, I was just on my period. For my third point, I want to touch back on the topic of like just being a child. When I got my first period, I was in grieving. Like, that is the word to describe it. I was grieving so bad. I was crying. I was so heartbroken and hurt and confused. And I remember I had like this sunken feeling in my gut, and my chest felt heavy. And all I really could think of is like, why? Why? Like, what the fuck is a period? Why is there blood coming out of my coochie right now? Out of all the fluids that humans can produce, why does a period have to be blood? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have an accident, it's bright as fuck on your ass. It just wasn't, it just felt so random. It just felt so random. It kind of felt like when you see something in nature that like really disturbs you and you're like, that is not how I thought that worked. I really don't know how to explain it. The best example I have for you, if you've never seen like a clip of deer shedding their antlers, like when reptiles molt, their antlers like molt in a way, and it'd be bloody. You'll see like the flesh of the antlers like bloody and like hanging from the antlers. That I can understand. That would be very disturbing to somebody. Like, if you've seen that in real life, especially, that would be very disturbing for you to see that. You'll be like, does it have a disease? Should I be running right now? I'm scared. Why does it look like that? Is it hurt? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did it go through? You'll be disturbed, type of thing. That's kind of like a similar phenomenon that I had. But anyways, back to my third point. I was devastated to have my period, right? And I was just so confused. Like, this is not what I thought periods were all these fucking years. A lot of emotions, hormones, a lot of processing. Now I'm uncomfortable. I got this thick ass carcinogenic pad on my ass, and it feels like a diaper. I gotta wear a diaper 24/7. Now, the thing that really weighed me down, my mom used to always say, oh, this means you're a woman now. And I understand in a lot of cultures that is a good thing to hear. As a little girl, like, you might feel excited, especially if you had this conversation before with your family. Nobody in my family had this conversation with me before I had my period. So I'm like very distraught, very confused, very surprised, you know, and now you're telling me I'm a woman? Nigga, I am 14. I don't know how exactly how old I was. I'm like kissing away my childhood because they keep telling me like, oh, you're a woman now. But I don't want to be a woman. Not so suddenly. Like, I want to be a child. I want to be a child for at least the next 10 years. I'm not ready to kiss my childhood goodbye. Like, that really like took something away from me. And I was in grieving, y'all. Like, I felt like I wasn't allowed to be a kid anymore. I used to hate that shit when people would tell me that. Even after having my period for a few months, you know, when my brothers would be like, you're a lady, you're a lady. I'm like, don't call me a fucking lady. I'm a little girl. And you know that I'm a little girl, I'm not a lady. Holy fuck, y'all, I'm running out of storage. Let me try to wrap this up. No more yapping. No more yapping. Every bit of me wished that my parents comforted me in a completely different way. I wish that more so they explained to me that like I'm not a woman, as in I'm not an adult, but this is a transition into womanhood. This is a introduction to womanhood. Yes, the hormones are different and they are real and they can feel mature, they can feel chaotic, but I don't even think that's fair to us for that to mean that all of a sudden you're a woman. You're 15. You're still a child. It's okay. Introduction to womanhood, sure, but you are still a child, okay? You can still enjoy your childhood. You just have a few more responsibilities now. You don't feel like you have to rush growing up just because you started fucking bleeding out of your coochie. Like, it's okay. It's fine. And I just want to say this because I feel like I can see somebody making this argument when people say, oh, you're a woman now. They don't mean it in like you're an adult woman. You really can't blame a child for mixing that up, especially a child that's in like 4th or 5th grade. Our parents actually sitting down and explaining to them like, you're a woman, but like not an adult woman. You're a woman in this way, you know? Our parents actually sitting down and having that conversation with them. My parents did not. I highly doubt that parents are distinguishing what they mean and what it sounds like to a child when they're having these talks about periods. I just wanted to just touch on that real quick to let y'all know that like I do acknowledge that. But I think that third point is like a big reason why getting my period was very touchy for me. It's okay. You're not being forced to grow up, girl. On to my fourth point. Every girl deserves period privacy, bro. I remember, especially when I first got my period, my mom wanted to know when it started, how long it is, and just everything. She wanted to know every time. Even now, sometimes my mom want to know when I'm on my period. Mommy, you ain't gotta know all that. I am handling my business. I am not making a mess. I'm being responsible. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of my hygiene. Like, that's really all you need to know. Like I just told y'all, like, I'm processing a lot. I don't want you down my back trying to track my period with me. I wish that I understood and knew how to communicate that better, that it's really nobody's business that I'm on my period. And I don't have to tell anybody that I'm bleeding if I don't feel comfortable with that. I actually did withhold this standard for myself very, very well. So well that like I didn't even tell my best friends for the first 2-3 years of getting my period that I got my period. It got to a point where every month they were asking me like, oh, did you get your period yet? Did you get your period yet? And I was just like, you know what? Let's see how long I can lie. I just wish I didn't feel guilty in a way for not feeling comfortable letting people in on that type of information. It's just straight up none of their business. Now, I feel like I have to say this just in case there's any young girls watching this. It is nobody's business, yes. However, please be sure to make it like your guardian, your parents, or your doctor's business if you do not get your period. Like if you've had it at least once and then you don't get it next month, maybe you should talk to somebody, you know. Or if you're getting to a certain age, maybe like 18, research it on your own. Maybe like 18 and you still haven't gotten your period yet. Also, please reach out to somebody that you trust because you never know. You never know. You just want to make sure that you're safe and that you can have make the most educated decision for yourself and your body by reaching out to a doctor at the very least, you know. I'll tell y'all a quick little story. I got my period, my first period in 7th grade. Got my period for 3 months straight, just about. And then for the next 2-3 months, I did not get my period. I did not tell my mother, okay? Because this weird thing in the Black community. Young pregnancies, very shamed upon, very common. And once you get to a certain age, especially as a girl, people assume that you're being a hoochie mama. I was not having any type of sexual relations with anybody. Just like when I got my period, I'm like, I'm gonna wait this out just a little bit. Give it some time to see when or if I want to speak up about this. The last thing I want my mom to think is that I am having sex and I'm pregnant. Just to conclude my fourth point, I also didn't like people trying to know when I'm on my period because y'all know the thing. Oh, she's emotional because she's on her period. Like, oh, don't talk to her today. She got an attitude. She's on her period. Like, no, bro. No, you just fucking disrespected me and I'm upset. I don't want people to take my showing of emotions, the little bit that I had in my adolescent years, and invalidate me. I'm not gonna let y'all get the fucking chance to invalidate me because of no fucking period. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And if you upset because you're an asshole, it is what it is. It has nothing to do with my period. All right, this is my fifth point. And that is that horrendously painful periods are not supposed to be normal. This might shock a lot of girls and women out there. I have never had period cramps ever in my life until I got on birth control. I got a Paragard IUD inserted maybe like 3 years ago from now. The first few hours immediately after getting it, I cramped and it was like the worst cramps in my life, but I could tell like my girlfriends was experiencing a lot worse than that every fucking month. And after that initial cramping, I like rarely got cramps, and even if I did, it's not that crazy. I remember it being so bad for one of my friends that she got addicted to her pain medication, to the point where she was having withdrawal symptoms even when she wasn't bleeding. I remember like being the dealer, and my friend texted me like really, really early in the morning, like, oh, have you left the house yet? Can you please bring me like 5 Tylenols? I'm like, girl, that's a bit much. But I got you. And I would wrap it up really nice and in like a dime bag sometimes if I could find some. And I would come bring it to her, and we would like dap up sometimes. And like it was a whole thing. It was a whole transaction, but like it was a thing. It was a thing. We was cute for that, low key. Like, even then, I knew I was really just lucky. And unfortunately, none of my friends knew that even though it was more common to have very painful periods, they didn't know that it really wasn't supposed to be a normal thing. So they didn't really try to do much about it, which is like, as a kid, what really are you supposed to do? You know, especially when your family doesn't have that much money. There are so many ways to relieve period pains. There are so many free ways and cheap ways to relieve period pains. Let's say it like that, because the people really need to know. If you know me, you know I'm gonna advocate for movement, moving your body, and I'm gonna advocate for like eating the right foods every time. Those are gonna be the top of my list. If it's not a movement or a food, then go ahead and experiment with something else. But you will be surprised. There are studies that show a little bit of movement in the body can relieve a lot of that pain, if not all of it. Oh my gosh, y'all, that storage is knocking at my door. Let me try to hurry up, for real, for real. There's this man that I follow on 3 different platforms. His at is MovementByDavid. I love his content. Very accessible information about like moving your body, how to move your body, and to get down to like the nitty-gritty details and shit like that. I recently came across this video where he talks about how stretching can relieve period pains.
Oh, I hate periods! It's also known as primary dysmenorrhea, and did you know that it's not supposed to be debilitatingly painful? And if your doctor is convincing you otherwise, get a new doctor. In the meantime, boyfriends, listen up, cause you're gonna be doing this too. By the way, mefenamic acid, ibuprofen, and ginger all help with period cramps about the same. This study had 3 groups. One was taking ginger, one was stretching, and one was doing absolutely nothing as the control group. Imagine being in a study like this and all you do is come back every month and say, yep, it hurts a lot and I can barely walk. Thanks for nothing. Poor control group. Basically, ginger helped, but stretching demolished those numbers and helped way more. So, how do you do it? You stretch everything associated with the pelvis and the core. Here's the list. Hip flexors, hamstrings, both sides, inner thighs, abs, lower back, then of course the booty stretch. Oh look, a list that you can actually screenshot and look up. Hold every single stretch for 30 seconds. By the way, the coolest thing I found out while researching this is that the benefits actually stack. So cool, you've made it a weekly habit. Now next month it's gonna be even less pain, and the month after that, even less. But that requires weekly stretching, so whether you're on your period or not, get a free ebook on your way out. Stay flexy.
It's not gonna be easy, but you deserve peaceful periods. So good luck, and I hope this helps. And even if it doesn't help, I hope you find something in budget and very convenient and accessible that's going to help you alleviate that period pain. I hope I gave somebody out there maybe a little heads up, so maybe it's not too late for you to find out that, you know, periods last more than 1 day and they're not just a long pee. Either that, or I hope I made you laugh, because I trust I'm in this chair giggling away. Or maybe I gave some insight or related to an experience you might have missed out on as well. If you made it this far, put a blood drop emoji in the comments or share a funny or silly period story with us. Of course, don't forget to like this video. And if this was your vibe, please do subscribe. Hopefully, I'll see y'all next Tuesday. But until then, peace.